started writing it for myself, really.
Everything Beautiful in Its Time, Seasons of Love and Loss is a compilation of personal essays about Jenna Bush Hager's famous and not so famous grandparents and the lessons they taught her.
In the year that I lost all of my living grandparents, I started journaling. I started writing letters to them. And so it started as a way for me to heal, really. And then at some point, I felt like their stories should be shared, because I know that grief is one of those universal things that a lot of people experience. And so Everything Beautiful in Its Time became not just my healing process, but something that I felt like I should put into the world.
Jenna writes that on the back of every door of her grandmother's home at Walker's Point were typed house rules. Don't track in sand, hang up your towel, and make your bed. But Jenna says the best lessons her grandparents imparted were how to love.
Most of what they taught was by example. I mean, of course, those typed rules were ones that were meant to teach respect, and I think they did. But I think we just witnessed them. We just watched how they lived. We watched how important family is or was to them, and that remains. I think they would be most proud of how close we all are, even though that they are gone.
Jenna includes letters written by her Gammy and Ganny to her and also to each other, love letters showing their devotion to one another.
I don't remember every single thing about being with them in Maine or visiting them in Texas, but what I do remember is how it felt to be in their house. And it felt joyful, and there was so much humor and love. And that was because they wanted to be around each other. They loved each other. And, when you're little, that feels effortless. That's just like, oh, that's the way it is. But when you're creating your own family, you realize how much work it takes to create a house that's full of love. And so it's just something that I am constantly aware of, and something that I, of course, want to emulate, a house full of joy and laughter and love. And I hope Henry and I are doing half as good a job as they did.
As someone who was once covered in the news very often, and now you cover people in the news, how does it impact how you cover people in the news now?
Yeah, I just know what it feels like to be interviewed with respect and with curiosity and with an open mind. And I also know what it feels like when somebody has preconceived notions and they run with that. So I hope that, and I think I do a pretty good job of this, that everybody that I speak with, I give the same amount of curiosity and open-mindedness and kindness and grace, because that's what's most important to me.
Lessons she learned from her grandparents are ones she hopes to pass on to her own children.
And now that I'm a mom, I see how important it is to model the behavior that you hope your family picks up on. And they didn't do it because they felt like they should. That was just who they were. And so we just watched as they played with us, even when they had the, weight of the world on their shoulders. When my grandpa was president, his priority was always us, and we never felt any differently.
Of course, the book is not about Maine, but Maine is a common theme in it. The cover, that's a picture of you and your grandfather off of Walker's Point. Mm-hmm. And then you toast your sister, Barbara, at her wedding, and you talk about Maine, or maybe specifically Walker's Point, being an anchor in your lives.
I moved around a lot. Obviously, Texas was where we were from. But I moved around in Texas. We lived in DC for a little bit. And we went to a lot of different schools, Barbara and I did, but there was one constant for us, and that is the shore of southern Maine. We went every single year. I have gone every single year of my life. Will be my 41st summer there this summer. And it's a priority because not only is it a beautiful place, but what it means is family. It's the only time my whole family can get together. It meant going to see my grandparents, who we didn't see as much because they lived in Washington and we lived in Texas, but we knew that every summer we would have that time with them, uninterrupted time. And so to me, it's the most precious place because it epitomizes family. And my little girls have now, and Hal, my baby, who as soon as he was born, we drove him up to meet his grandparents. His great grandparents had passed away by then. But, it's a touchstone of our life. It is a place that is precious. And I think not only because we love it, but because it means being together with people that we love.